All right, we've got a test here. Everything's looking good. We're here a little early. I'm Dan from Cameron Home Solutions LLC. We just got a couple more minutes here. I've got 8:57 on the time. We're going to be live here from 9 to 10 p.m. I'm just getting my materials together, just checking how the camera is going to work here. Not that we'll need it much for anything. That works. Okay, good. Picked up some new cameras here and a new microphone. It's working out real well. The other camera was just we were using the HP laptop camera, and that's a little tough to have live sessions in because as we learn a little bit more about the YouTube business and about making videos, you need good audio for sure, and you certainly need good video, and that HP camera just wasn't cutting it. So anyway, welcome if you're out there. We might pick up a few people tonight. Historically, we find that live sessions about hurricane prep and that sort of thing in the off season aren't very popular, but that's okay. The idea of what we're doing here is to put information out there, bring you some great stuff, hopefully get you thinking about some things. And the nice thing about these live sessions is that you can just stream them while you're working. Hey, I'm in my garage here. This is basically our garage is my office. Okay, I've got the generator here, got our toolboxes over here and stuff in behind us. You can see that as well. And you can also see I'm getting used to looking up into the camera too. That just takes a little getting used to when you're working on the computer. But you can stream these. So if you're in the garage doing things, you can listen, and there's not a lot of visual going on in these videos. Sometimes there are, but usually there aren't in a live session. So you could just whistle while you work, listen while you're doing. You can listen to this while you're driving. You could be cooking and spending some time and just listen to it. You don't have to sit at the video screen and just attend to the video screen. You can go about doing other things. And our idea is this: if we can impart information to you in a manner that makes a lot of sense to you, that's easy to understand, easy to access and listen to, hey, you can listen to this thing 3 times. Every time you listen to it, you'll pick up 1, 2, or 3 nuggets of wisdom. I mean, that's how it works for me when I do that. That's how it works for my wife, Mary. So again, it's almost 9 o'clock here. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Dan. We're from Cameron Home Solutions LLC. Welcome. We're live again, and we wanted to get out here and get some great information to you guys. So we want to thank all the 89 subscribers that we have so far on our channel. And we started a little after, about July, August or so. We started posting them last year, and we've learned a lot. We've met a lot of nice people and learned a lot about the technology for sure. So we appreciate those 89 subscribers, and we're still growing. And even though we're a small channel, we know that we make videos that have a lot of value. And that's one of the big things that we learned as we go out in the world here. Sometimes you may look at a video and say, well, the thumbnail's not the best, or you might not, the audio might not be the best. This person's doing some early content and they're just getting used to the technology. But then you watch the video and you learn something that really impacts your life. So that's one thing we've learned about YouTube. There's a lot of good information out there. And of course, there's a lot of junk too. But if you learn to separate the wheat from the chaff on that, that's a great thing. But there's a lot of good stuff you can learn out there. We pick up a lot of education, a lot of tips and tricks, and you just have to use common sense. Sometimes the tips and tricks that people give you aren't exactly the best, but if you've got a couple brain cells banging around upstairs in that bucket and you put some common sense application in there, you can certainly separate the wheat from the chaff and really get high value out of it. So the reason why we're here tonight is we're talking about prepping a bit here, and the topic was this. It was talking about prepping in seniors, and this is not a popular format that you see here. I'm sitting here at a screen. Yeah, I've got a diesel generator behind us and some tools, etc. And you see some of the newer toolboxes we picked up over here. But we don't have any guns in the picture. We don't have bazookas. We don't have 50 caliber ammunition right here in front of you to say, oh, look at that. That's cool. We got a couple big knives, but I'm not going to bring them out and put them here because this is not the kind of video. But those prepper videos, everybody seems to have their prepper bag, their go bag. How much crap can you carry on your back and trudge through the woods 10 miles and live out there for 90 days? That's all great. It has a place, but a lot of us aren't going to be doing that sort of thing. I think it's great to be prepared. I think it's great to have plans. It's great to have bug out plans, great to have evac plans. But for the most part, most people aren't going to bug out. They are not going to leave their house. They're not going to schlep through the woods and do their thing. And for those who can, it's wonderful. I have a family member, an uncle who is absolutely fabulous in the woods. You may have heard that in my earlier video, the videos that Mary and I did. This guy, you could give him a piece of dental floss and a toothpick, and he could survive in the woods for 6 months and come back stronger, bigger. I mean, the guy's amazing. Well, he hunts, he fishes, he's amazing. He's just amazing. But anyway, what we're talking about is prepping. And the idea came from a video. I just watched this afternoon, actually, and it's really germane to this. There's a channel out there called After Normal, and it's one of these AI channels that have these kind of cartoonish renderings that they do, and there's this AI voice out there, but they get a lot of views. This thing got like 26,000 views in the last few days, and it had some great information. So I wanted to share some of what I learned there. I want to give credit to the creators at After Normal for some of the things that I'll say here tonight, but I wanted to use this to spur a conversation tonight because I think there are a lot of people out there that really may be wondering, hey, I'm a senior. I'm 58, I'm 60, I'm 72 years old, and I just had a hip replacement. How the hell am I going to put a 60-pound rucksack on my back, go trudging through the woods, and live out there for 6 months? I have all I can do to get up and down from the toilet. And that's the thing. That's why I wanted to talk about this, because it really hits home. Me, I'm 60. I just turned 60. I'll be 61 this year. And I don't run as fast as I used to. I don't see as well as I used to. And I'm not worried about that. It's part of the normal aging process. My wife is older than I am. And we've had serious talks about this because as you know, you're here, Cameron Home Solutions LLC. And again, I'm Dan, and welcome. Great to have you here. We run a hurricane prep channel here. We also do heavy DIY. We also do some just great things. If you watch our videos, you can pick up mechanical concepts. You can pick up lifting and rigging concepts, storm readiness and storm cleanup concepts. I mean, the sky's the limit. And our idea is that if you possess a good mind, and if you have some mechanical ability, some of which is innate, not all of it can be taught, but some of it can. If you learn some of the skills and principles, you can be very successful when you prepare for anything, whether it be a hurricane, a tropical storm, a wildfire, a chemical accident. We give you some tips and tricks, a lot of tips and tricks that you can put together for your own scenarios. There's a lot of information. You go through it, you'll be much better for it. But anyway, here we are. And one of the things we talk about is prepping for the bug in or bug out scenario. When we look at our hurricane plan and what we do here, we're preparing for a bug in situation. We live and have lived in Florida, Southwest Florida, since 2012. And we lived at a home that was 19 feet above sea level, about maybe 11 miles from the ocean. We're now 34 feet above sea level. We're 24 miles north of that. We're in maybe 15 miles from the ocean. I'm going to have to, I've got to get on a map and I've got to look at that and see what exactly our distance is from our house now to the ocean. But we are definitely further inland. We are higher up, and we're in a house that's built to the newest building codes. So we're prepared for bug-in scenarios, and that was one of the reasons why we made the move. As we get older, we realize that our capabilities have diminished in some areas, and we're not alone. You guys may be like that too. So we made a change and sold a home and bought another one. And the move has been fantastic for us. It really changed our hurricane prep. And the nice thing is that after looking at it, we decided, hey, we've gone through so much and we've helped hundreds of people with their hurricane prep ideas, with their plans, with generator operating and maintenance guys. We said, hey, let's put together a book, let's put together a website, and let's start a YouTube channel. And let's get that information out to the people. So that's what you have. We've walked the walk and talked the talk. So that's what you get here. But here I go. I'm rambling again, but that sometimes happens. My wife will say it happens a lot. But anyway, After Normal says, hey, their title of their video is Too Old to Bug Out? The Stay Put Doctrine for Seniors. The Stay Put Doctrine for Seniors. And they start out by talking about being over 60 years old or being a senior And whether it's wise to bug in or bug out, they start out by talking about the highway. Let's say you're in a hurricane situation and you want to leave. Now, you could be anywhere up and down the Texas coast, Louisiana, Florida, up the Carolinas, up in up to Nova Scotia. Hurricanes can hit any of those areas here in our country. But let's say you're in a place and you want to evacuate. Well, if you're going to evacuate, and if you do what the average person does, you're going to leave a little slower than most people. You're going to just get your stuff ready and you're going to join the throngs of traffic out there. We live on a two-lane road now, and it's about 5 miles, well, 10 miles down to the highway going south. And then we have to run about 10 miles north till we hit another two-lane road intersection. And then it runs for another 30 miles as a two-lane road. And if we're evacuating where we are now, and there's one car accident on that road, a car smashes into another, or a truck smashes into another, we're all screwed. Depending on what happens, none of that traffic may move. So the article goes on to, or the video, it's an article, the video article goes on to talk about, do you want to be out in that traffic? What if you don't have enough gas in your car and you've got to drive 200 miles to safety and you've only got 70 miles of gas? By the time you get on the road, you don't want to just get off the highway and gas up. Now, this is me adding our stuff in. You don't want to just get off the highway and gas up, because by that time, these gas stations are going to be overloaded with cars. People are going to be panicking and they may run out of gas. So these things can happen. Now, let's say somebody in that two-lane road runs out of gas. Now they're holding up the whole line, and it's going to cause all kinds of panic and crazy stuff. And hopefully people will stop and help move that car off the road, and on they go. But let's say you're in that car and you run out of gas. You're a senior. Now you're in a pressure cooker, especially if you're in South Florida. You're going to cook alive in that thing. It's going to get hot. You're going to have stress. You're going to have no air conditioning. You're not going to have a fan even running, because your car won't run because it's out of gas. And you can't just turn the ignition on and run the fan a little bit on the dash. You're going to kill the battery. So it's a terrible situation. It's like no win. So this is one of the things that the article talks about. So I said, hey, yeah, we've got to bring this out to a live session. So I'm going to go ahead again, and I'm going to put a chat out there. And I'm going to say, do you plan on evacuating in a hurricane scenario if needed? Typing one hand here's a little tough. So we'll throw that out there. And again, welcome. We've had a couple people pop in, pop out. The idea is we're just talking about seniors and the idea of prepping and whether you want to bug in or bug out. So we beat the car scenario to death. You're going to get on a road, your beautiful 6-lane highway, or let's say in Florida, 75. It's usually a 3-lane road, east, north, and south. And as it runs, if there's an accident, if it gets clogged up, that thing slows down in a hurry. We experienced that during Hurricane Ian. We experienced that during Hurricane Irma, other hurricanes. It can turn into a parking lot. We were actually on the road in Hurricane Ian. We were up north by Ocala, and we had turned around and we were up there overnight, and we actually were headed back to our home in Southwest Florida, about maybe 190, 100 miles south. And it was a ghost town on the south side of the road, but a parking lot literally from Ocala, where we got on southbound 75, the northbound side from Ocala, all the way down in the Southwest Florida was a parking lot. Just thousands of people were trying to escape the wrath of Hurricane Irma, and we were going right into it. So it was a little freaky. It was like we were in the middle of a movie. But anyway, getting back to the point, are you going to bug in or are you going to bug out? If you're going to pack your car with stuff and drive out, it depends on whether you brought everything, whether you have room for everything, whether you have any kids, spouse, what are you going to do? Do you have enough gas in the car? And it's also dependent on the people around you. Do they have enough gas in the car? Do they have a plan? Do they know where they're going? Do they even know how to drive? If they get a flat tire, don't expect AAA to come rolling up, or the road patrol, the road rangers they have down here on the highway from Florida DOT, to come fix your darn tire. You're on your own. So maybe you don't want to do that sort of thing. You might want to think about bugging in. We got another scenario here. If you have a lot of physical stress, let's say you had a bypass operation, or I mentioned earlier, let's say you've got a hip or a knee replacement, Can you be expected to physically put on a rucksack that weighs 60 pounds and go trudging off in the woods and living for 6 months? Probably not. Now, if you own acres of land and you've got some kind of camp out there, hey, that's great. But I'm going to bet that most people, most of the average people out there, we don't. We have this house and that's it. So we've got it set up for a bug in scenario, but we're also set up for a bug out scenario, but it depends on the situation. We're more likely going to bug in given the quality of the house and our location and our elevation, et cetera. But it just depends on what hits where. So there's a whole host of factors. But yeah, if you've got a joint problem, a joint replacement, an issue, you can't bend, you can't lift and run like you used to, you're not going to be cleaning your laundry down at the stream, beating it on a rock on the stream's edge. It's going to be hard to get water out of the stream. Gather wood for a campfire. How about hunting? Hunting small or large game. That's going to be a little difficult if you're older. Now, what if you're medicated? What if you have some kind of the internet article again, which was by the channel After Normal, and I want to thank them for their great content. The description of their particular video that I'm talking about here was too old to bug out, the stay put doctrine for seniors. Well, they say, hey, what if you're on blood thinners and you've got a 3-day supply and it runs out on day 4? Now, what are you going to do? And what if you are in such a state that the mechanics of your body really need those blood thinners? And if you don't have them, your heart can't efficiently pump. It's 95 degrees outside, humid, bugs, fire ants, everything else. I think you're going to be laying there. You're going to be ant food. It's just not going to work. So it really gives rise to this thought of maybe you don't want to just consider bugging out, which is fine. If you have a bug out plan, that's great. But you might want to consider developing a good bug in plan. Now, with regard to that kind of thing, if you've made decisions about how to bug out and you've said, hey, I need to go down the road, and again, with hurricanes or a lot of disasters, you may not have to drive hundreds of miles. In cases down here in Southwest Florida, you only need to go like 10 miles away from where you live to get away from the storm surge or to get away from high winds and that sort of thing. It just depends on the layout, depends on where you are. You really don't have to go that far. So you can look at hotels in the area. You can scope out hotels. If you have friends that live in the areas, you can look at that. You can maybe pick up an Airbnb if there happen to be available. Now, I wouldn't bank on that, but it's an idea. I just thought of it. But if you're going out, you go to a hotel, you can scope that hotel out. You can talk to them and say, hey, if I have a hurricane or an evac scenario from wildfire or something, I'd like to be able to get a room here. Can I check out your room? What do you have? What are your amenities like? You're probably looking at a place that is not likely to be affected by the events that are be going around your home, because that's the reason why you're going to evacuate there. But you look at the parking lot. And you say, how does it lay out? Does it look like water can drain off of it? Does it have good drainage and elevation? Are there a lot of trees in the parking lot that could just blow down and smash my car? Geez, I would have been better off home leaving it in the garage. These are things to think about. What are the windows like? Again, water runoff. What are the gutters like? Is it an old building? Is it a new roof? Old roof? Think about all that stuff. Does it have access to amenities? Does it have a generator? These are things we need to think about. So when you're developing a plan, you may have a good bug out plan, but when you start adding up your age, start adding up any medications, any possible infirmities, your stress level, and the ability to handle stress being reduced by any surgeries or any physical conditions that you have, the idea of bugging out may not be as attractive as it initially was when you were younger. The article, the After Normal channel, points out that a lot of this prepper stuff, you see these young guys, and it's usually guys, they're 22, they're 30 years old, and they got all kinds of crap on their backs, and they're running and jumping and doing all that. Hey, that's great. At that age, I could run and jump a lot too. I can run and jump now, but it's just a whole lot slower. And I sure as heck can't put that kind of stuff on my back anymore and go any distance. And that's the thing. So the road could possibly be your enemy, they mentioned in this. And that's what I'm bringing to you. So in a bug-in scenario, if we take this and turn it, let's see where we're at. Just to give a little station identification here, I'm Dan. Cameron Home Solutions LLC. Can't ever remember my own company name. Cameron Home Solutions LLC. My wife and I run a hurricane prep here. We do DIY, light and heavy duty DIY. We've got a bunch of broadcasts out there. We've got 89 subscribers right now. Very proud to have you on board, and we look forward to having more as hurricane season nears. So we're putting out this awesome content for you guys, and this live stuff is awesome because you can just stream it. You can listen to it in your garage. You can listen to it when you're going to work and maybe at work, depending on what you do. You could be cooking and just have something on in the background and pick up a nugget or two of wisdom, and you'd be surprised how much you learn doing that. My wife and I do that a lot with YouTube videos, and we've learned a lot over the years. So we're trying to do that, and we're using this as a way to impart even more information to you. We go live Tuesday. Currently, we go live Tuesdays from 9 to 10. Seeing how our viewership is, we may change that to going live on Sunday afternoons because we seem to have a lot of activity with people watching our videos and having a lot of interest on the weekends. But we currently do it on Tuesdays. We go live on Tuesdays from 9 to 10. We started a new series, a Talk Wednesday series. And what we do is we sit here and we put out videos, we put out information, and these are shorter videos, maybe 20 minutes, half hour long. And we put out various hurricane things, and we're going to do that weekly. And we've got that scheduled with some great stuff. We got some stuff front loaded that we've batch recorded. It's wonderful. And we also come out with our long form videos, whether it be long form hurricane prep or long form DIY or whatever we happen to be doing at the time to offer to you guys on Fridays. So right now it's live on Tuesdays from 9 to 10. It might move to Sunday afternoons. Just have to watch and see. We do a Talk Wednesday series where you can just go in at any time, pick up a video, and it's very similar format to this where we just talk, impart information. You can stream it and whistle while you work. And then finally, we do the, hey, sit down, pay attention. Wow, look at that, rewind. Hey, look at that, rewind. Wow, that's a great video. How did they do that? What did they do? We do those long form how-to videos, hurricane prep videos, DIY videos. So that's what we do. Great stuff. All right, so getting back to what we're talking about, if you want to put together a bug-in plan and you haven't thought about doing it, think about how you can physically handle the rigors of being outside, being outdoors. And let's put up another chat for that. Can you realistically handle bugging out at your age and in your condition? Or is it better to perhaps bug in? Now we've got to clarify that a little bit, because if you live on the coast and you're being threatened with 15 feet of storm surge, bugging in, probably kind of silly. You need to leave, and you should have left, and you should have left earlier. And if something happens to your house, hey, I hope you have a good insurance policy and a lot of patience, because when you think about what happened to Hurricane Ian in 2022 when it hit Fort Myers Beach is forever changed now, and there are so many of you people know that. Some of you haven't seen it. You have to see some of the videos. It's just unbelievable what happened. So anyway, you don't want to be, for most homes that are built down there are a few down there that are super, super hurricane strong. But for the most part, you're going to get washed away. You're going to get killed. You're going to get flooded in. You're going to drown. You might get chewed up by some sea creature that's been blown in by the hurricane. You don't know. You're going to have, and down here in Florida, you get mixed in with this water. You might have alligators around. You just don't know. So that is a scenario where bug out makes a lot of sense. Now, if you're further inland, like we have been, and we certainly are now, we would consider the bug in scenario, and we would say that to you. But when you consider it, you got to look at it this way. One of the first things you're going to need is water. So you've got jugs, you've got bottled water, you've got stuff in the fridge, you can make ice, you can fill the bathtub. That's what we do. We fill our bathtub with water. In our old home, we had the previous home, we had a bathtub, but we took it out and put it in a walk-in shower. But then we used some toter trash cans and held 60 gallons of water and wheeled them in there, filled them up, and just left them in case we needed it. But you have to think of water first. Water is heavy. It takes a little time to draw. You want to make sure you have enough water. Now, when we're talking about bugging in, and again, the video that I looked at and I want to give credit to is the channel is called After Normal. And the video title is Too Old to Bug Out, the Stay Put Doctrine for Seniors. And I watched that today. So they're talking about, hey, put a bathtub liner in. Me, I don't think you have to do that sort of thing. If you keep your house clean and scrub your bathtub, then you can actually put water in there and not be too worried about it. If you have a bunch of potable water, you can do that. Now let's move on to food. How much food do you have? So many disaster guides say, hey, let's have 3 days worth of food. You got to have 3 days worth of food, which makes sense. And then there's been new talk about that. Say, well, you should have 2 weeks worth of food, 2 weeks worth of food. Well, the video that I watched today said maybe you should have 3 months worth of food. And you don't have to have anything crazy, anything wild. If you have a pantry and you do things efficiently, you may be able to slowly build up to that. Now, that may not be realistic for you. It may be better. It depends on where you live and what kind of calamity you think you're dealing with, whether it's a hurricane, wildfire, chemical accident from a truck or whatever. Let's say it is a hurricane and you're in an area like us where you can bug in, but you think the power might be out for some time after a storm goes through based on the forecast. Well, hopefully you've stocked up enough and you can stock quite a bit. And they're talking about ordinary food here, like peanut butters and tuna fish cans and that sort of thing. You're not talking about having 19 fridges, which you can do, but if the power goes out, how are you going to manage it? Or you can talk about having the staples. I mean, you can have a couple dozen eggs in your freezer, and if you've got enough power to keep it going, hey, use them up. Like my wife says, use up the perishables first, but then you can have a bunch of staples and soups and this and that on the way. That's fantastic. Hey, we've got somebody in here right now. We appreciate it. Glad to have you along. We're talking about hurricane prep, and we're talking about hurricane prepping in seniors. And the idea is when you're a senior citizen, should you consider bugging out or bugging in? And maybe because of your age or some medical issues or joint replacements or medications, you may not have the capability to handle the stresses of bugging out, running down the highway, possibly running out of gas, that whole deal. So that's what we're talking about here. So getting back into the food deal, we keep a good at least a month supply on hand, and we could go longer. But we're not crazy considering where we're at and what our location is. That this is all location dependent. There are people out there that have stockpiled and they've got months of food and just kind of MRE type stuff. And there's all kinds of things available on Amazon out there and you can do a great job of setting yourself up. But we also know of people that just don't have the room. I'll throw one at you. Let's say you're 65 years old and you live in an apartment. And if you live in an apartment, you're not going to have a lot of room. Maybe you live on the fourth floor and it's improbable that you'd have a generator that could run long term to keep you going with water, keep you going with heat or AC and that sort of thing. So you may have some limitations, but assume you live in a house where you could possibly do a bug-in scenario. You want to have enough water on hand. You want to have enough food on hand. Now you may have to consider hardening the property. And again, after normal, that's the name of the channel of the YouTube video we're talking about here. They say that, hey, you might want to harden your house and make sure that your doors are secure, your windows are secure. If you expect any kind of violence or unrest, which is not something a lot of us have dealt with, but boy, when you see what's going on in the world today and you think about the different ICE protests and all going on, I mean, things that go downhill in a municipality quickly. So you want to take care of yourself. They bring up a great tip and they talk about hardening your entry points, making sure your doors are bolted. If you need to reinforce your doors, you can buy some kits from the hardware store and secure your door. And they brought up a really great tip that I have to give After Normal credit for. They said, hey, if somebody's trying to kick in your door and you've reinforced it and they can't just kick it in with one kick, it maybe takes them 30 seconds to eventually break that door open. That gives you 30 seconds of time, which is a really long time in an emergency situation. And it gives you time to act. It gives you time to think. And I'll lay it right out there. They didn't say it, but hey, maybe it gives you time to get your gun, get your knife. Maybe it gets you time to escape or go into a safe room or do something. So these are the kinds of things you would think about in a bug-in scenario. And there's a whole lot more to it, and we certainly can't cover it all here. But that is certainly a great idea. And I was really glad to have listened to it today because I wanted to bring it to your attention. If your house is hardened, even if you can't do it perfectly, you can at least slow people down. And it might be hard enough where they'll just go on to the next house because there's always somebody that doesn't take this stuff seriously. And we're not freakish about it. We're pretty normal, down to earth people. We're not the crazy preppers that you see always looking behind the shoulder. We have three compasses hanging off our rear view mirror. No, we just quietly go about our business, but we're aware and we're ready to do things if we need to. And that's what we're trying to impart to you guys today. So the nice thing about being home is the next thing you can do is manage your medications. If you take multiple medications, you want to make sure you have 90-day supplies if you can. Now, down here in Florida in our municipalities, when inclement weather, the hurricanes and crises strike, there are pharmacies that will allow you, and it depends on the laws here, and I'm not up on this, but you can get a 30 to a 90-day emergency supply of subscription or prescription medication, and it might be 30. You could look into it depending on where you're from, because this obviously goes out worldwide. But you want to have at least a 90-day supply of whatever it is you need if you can get it. And the idea is that if you don't know what's coming down the pike, and you may have extended power outages and food shortages after a disaster, you want to be able to take care of yourself. And medications are very especially important as you get older, certainly important for anybody who takes them. But it depends on the medication. If you're on a cholesterol med, maybe it's not a big deal. But if you're on a blood thinner or a thyroid medication, you're going to drop dead if you don't take it. It would behoove you to have a 3-month supply around if you can have that. Now, with regard to that, when you're home, After Normal, and I keep having to refer to this clipboard here, After Normal mentioned another great thing is that when you're home, you can network with your neighbors and with your community. If you're concerned about storms and concerned about checking up on people, you've got more able people around in the community. You've got some less able people around in the community, but you may have they mentioned in the channel a retired nurse that lives around the corner, and you may have this fully dressed out trauma kit, but you don't know how to use any of the crap. So you're better off to have this retired nurse that you could contact, come on over, help you out with something should you need it. You might have somebody else that's real adept and their house is located where they can watch the neighborhood, and you can set up signaling and you can work it so that if your blinds, you leave your blinds down in a scenario and for some reason they're open 2 inches, that's a sign for some neighbor to come in and check on you and see how you're doing. You can set up signals with flashlights, do that kind of thing. That's something I added. Is actually my wife added that in when we were talking about this today. So there are different things that you can do in a bug out scenario instead of being the lone wolf out there in the woods, sweating your backside off or freezing your backside off wherever you are, depending on the scenario. You've got your home, you've got some familiar surroundings, and you've got some trusted community members around you. So that's another reason to consider bugging in as a senior. Now, you do want to have the car gassed up because as After Normal mentions, which is, again, is a great video, After Normal mentioned that if you go out and you're in a bug-in scenario, always be prepared in case you have to evacuate. Let's say you're in a bug-in scenario and for some reason you have to leave your home. Well, please make sure your car is gassed up. They said have at least half a tank of gas. Say, keep your tank full. My wife and I keep our tank regularly. We don't go below 3/4 and we're at the gas station filling it up. It's just smart. And the nice thing is when we go in, it only takes a few minutes to pump a few gallons of fuel to top off our vehicles. We're in, we're out. We're not waiting to pump 75 gallons of vehicle into the gas tank. So we don't need to pump 75 gallons into it. We pump a few, we're on our way. It's just a habit we've gotten into. So that's one of our prepper deals. We're prepared. We're just down home Joes, regular people, and we like to be prepared. And you have to be flexible. So if you are bugging in, you may have to have an evac scenario set up, which you've pretty well done. If you were started out in the beginning of this presentation here, we talked about having a plan. Again, I'm Dan. This is Cameron Home Solutions, LLC. Our YouTube channel that Mary and I run handles DIY. We handle hurricane prep. We also handle lifting and rigging and storm cleanup. If you watch our videos, you listen to this kind of thing, this video is designed to be streamed so that you can listen to it, whistle while you work, I call it. You can listen to it while you're in the garage like I am here in my office. If you're cooking or you're driving to work or at work, depending on what you do, you could listen to this stuff and get a little bit of wisdom. And also while we're going through, hey, look at our channel content. And if you like what you see, we've got 89 subscribers so far. And thank you so much to each and every one of you for taking the time to comment and interact with us and help us with content ideas, and for subscribing. We'd love to have you as a member. If you think you can get some value out of it, just come on in, check us out. So we're again talking about the bug in and bug out scenario. What's the better thing for seniors? For most people, depending on the scenario, maybe bugging in might be the better thing. So you avoid the road stresses. You may have medications, you may have joint issues, you may have stamina issues, heart issues, whatever. These things all play a factor in how you can either hunker down or get away from an emergency scenario. So the idea, and that's pretty much it. I mean, when you look at what that video talked about, I sat there after the end and I said, this is really good information. Now, with the hurricane plan that my wife and I have had for so many years, and the plan that we share with people, we are mainly bug-in people. Given where we've lived here in Southwest Florida in the past and where we live now, bugging out was not anything we were overly concerned about. We would have to have storm surge in excess of about 22 feet for us to have even been concerned about it. And now, again, we're 34 feet above sea level. So the chances of us having a problem are really moot, unless Mother Nature unleashes a 30-inch rainstorm on us. If we get 30 inches in 3 days, hey, we might be floating down the river. So we just don't know what's going to happen. We doubt that's going to happen given where we live, but this is our scenario. Your scenario might be different. But if you are in a place where you've considered bugging out, you might want to consider bugging in after you give yourself an honest assessment and say, hey, can I walk? Can I run? What's my memory like? What are my mental faculties like? Where do you live? Do you 2-lane roads, 4-lane roads? Do you keep your car gassed up? Can you afford to bug out? Because you got to take some money with you, because you just never know. You got to have some money with you. Do you have the time and ability to leave earlier than others? Because that's the key. If you can leave earlier than the average crowd, you can get to where you need to get to. But if you can't, hey, you might want to just consider staying home, bugging in. Again, that's all up to you. Just take this information and put it to as you see. Now I'm going to go ahead and throw another chat out there. Do you have all right, do you have the ability to bug in place in a storm scenario? Or must you leave? Just fix a couple spelling errors. A little hard to see the keyboard. There we go. All right. Do you have the ability to bug in place, or must you leave? That's something to certainly think about. If you've got a good bug out plan in place, God bless you. A lot of people don't. The majority of people don't. The majority of people wing it. Down here in Florida, we wrote a book here called Real Life Hurricane Prep. You can see it in the details below and on our channel. We've got a YouTube channel that fleshes out the book, and that book's available on Amazon. And we've had new people read it and say, oh my gosh, this is a great resource. I'm new to Florida. I don't know what to do, where to go. I don't know how to deal with hurricanes. Hey, we were the same way. We came from up north. We dealt with blizzards and snowstorms, and we had good plans in place to handle it. We had backup generators like we have here now, and we had plenty of fuel and all this and that. When we moved to Florida back in 2012, we said, hey, we're going to do the same thing. So we brought our generator with us, and we brought our plans with us, and then we sat down and hunkered down and learned all we could about hurricanes and how they work and tropical storms, because that's what we face here. So we came up with a great bug in plan, and we came up with a great bug out plan as well. We have it set up where if we have a tornado, this is what we do. We have it set up where if we have to bug out on an airplane, this is what we can and can't take with us. If we're going to be driving, are we going to have one vehicle or two vehicles? Can we leave earlier or not? And these things all matter into how you're going to handle yourself and how you're going to get out there and handle getting away from a problem situation. But again, in so many communities, there's been great flood mitigation plans and a lot of building communities the builders that made in communities that have gone in, great drainage, that sort of thing. So maybe your house is set and in a location where you're actually better off building up some supplies and making your house into a little fortress and just hunkering down there. And you can go as crazy as you want or not. It's totally up to you. It's up to your resources, up to your capabilities, your interest level, and a realistic assessment of what it's going to be like if the crap hits the fan, or if we get a hurricane, or if we get a tropical storm and a bunch of rain, whatever. These things can happen. Here's another scenario: extreme cold. We put out a bunch of videos here a few weeks ago. We had friends and family in other states that were dealing with the big ice storms that went through the country here, the eastern side of the country this winter. And we also just had the blizzard come through. I mean, 36, 37 inches of snow in Rhode Island. We got a family member that was snowed up in there for days. They had a generator and a snow blower and a fireplace, and they did very well. My brother was up there in Southeast Connecticut. He got 20 inches of snow. He had a snow blower. He never lost power. He's on a very robust power grid, and he did really well. Our dad up in Northwest Connecticut got about 18 inches of snow. Same kind of deal. Now he's obviously older. He's in his 80s. So, he works slowly. The neighbors help him out. He's got good community up there. He doesn't live in a community. He lives in a single family home. He's got nice neighbors around, and he did well. So whatever your scenario is, you have to decide whether you need to leave or you need to stay. So that's where we're coming from with all this stuff. It's just a matter of making decisions. It's a matter of looking and assessing what you can do or can't do. You're going to want to take a few $100 at minimum when you're bugging out down the road. Is your car reliable? If you're in a cold climate, do you have studded snow tires or snow tires? Because why get on the road if you can't drive or do anything? You might be better to stay home. In a hot climate, is your air conditioner busted on your car and you're going out there, it's going to be 98 degrees and 90% humidity. If your car craps out, you might be crapping out on the side of the road too, because it's going to be very difficult for emergency services to get to you. That's an absolute fact. When you see how packed the roads get in this scenario, it is absolutely crazy. We're going to go ahead and put another chat out there. All right. Has anyone experienced bugging out from a storm or hurricane in the past? And the reason I ask this is, it's great when you get on this. Again, we don't get a lot of people out on these. Maybe later on, we'll expect it once hurricane season ramps up and there's a lot more interest. But it's always great when people who've had experience come in and chime in and they chat about what they've done and where they've gone. That makes a big difference and helps us out a lot, because we're here to impart information. And we've been through a lot. We've been through the mill here and there in life, but there are other people that have been through other stuff, and we can learn from them. So while they're teaching us, we're trying to teach you guys, and we're trying to work together and make this a great YouTube community on the positive side of the YouTube world. Great educational stuff. So if you have bugged out before, maybe you've got good experiences. Maybe you're set up where you can leave earlier than most. You have time flexibility. You've got money. You've got good vehicles. You may have family that live up the road. And again, bugging out doesn't have to be moving hundreds of miles. You might go to an uncle's house 10 miles down the road, like here. And as you look at Fort Myers is down at sea level, and then it runs up to 19, 20 feet. The EOC station is about 30 feet above sea level. You move in a few, maybe 5-8 miles, you're into Lehigh Acres, and Lehigh Acres is up higher. So you've got a chance. You don't have a storm surge issue there. You're further inland, and by that time, the challenge you face could be different, but you might only have to bug out to a home in Lehigh Acres, something, 8-10 miles away to be safe. So if you have bugged out, hey, you have experiences. But remember, if you did this some years ago, you're older now. I'm older now. I'm going to be 61 this year. My wife is older. I came down here and I was 46. And, again, I could run higher, run faster and jump higher than I do now. I could see better than I do now. I could hear better than I do now. So things are a little different. So we have to factor that into our plan, and we've done so. So I'm asking you guys to do the same thing. Just consider that, because again, as this YouTube article again, which was too old to bug out. Maybe the stay at home doctrine good for you? The stay put doctrine good for seniors? And I would say it is, depending on the circumstance. So, like we say to everybody, hey, we want you to be open-minded. We want you to think about the long-term effect of your decisions, whether you can physically handle the rigors of the road, the rigors of an airplane. If there's another COVID epidemic or something out there, maybe you don't want to be around anybody. You might be better off hunkering in place and bugging in. So these are the kinds of things we're talking about. You've got to think about your medication. You've got to think about your joints, whether you have any dietary restrictions. If you need to go travel somewhere and you've got oxygen in the long tube and you need an oxygen generator or a concentrator, that's going to limit you too. So there are different things that you have to think about. And again, not everybody lives in a home. Some people are homeless. Some people live in apartments. Some people live in old condos. Some live in high rises. Whatever the scenario is, you have to plan for it, figure out what you need to do, and take care of yourself, take care of your family, and take care of your community. Now, with regard to talking about that sort of thing, you've got to take care of yourself first. And Mary is fond of saying this, that self-reliance is the best insurance. And I'll say it again, self-reliance is the best insurance, because you've got to be able to rely on yourself. If you can take care of yourself and you can take care of your family with these bug in or bug out scenarios and make the plans and do that sort of thing, then you can help your neighbor. And once your neighbor gets set to go and they're up to speed on doing their thing, now you guys can help other neighbors, and now you're helping the community. But it all starts at home. You've got to start this stuff at home first. You've got to get your own ducks in a row, and you've got to then help your neighbor, and then you guys can start to help the community. But if you don't have your stuff straight first, there are going to be limitations in trying to help at the community level. And some people go through this. I mentioned this in the last, I think it was 2 live presentations a couple of weeks ago. You have people that are so willing to get out there and help, which is an absolutely wonderful thing. But they get out there and their home's not ready. You've got people that maybe work for the municipality, for the city, and a storm comes and they're working for 5 days straight. They actually live and eat in their office, but they haven't set their family up. Their wife and kids might be home, or husband, or whatever, and they don't have everything they need to ride out the storm or do this or do that. You got to take care of yourself first and take it seriously. We attended a presentation here at it's called the Collaboratory, and it's an area where you have a lot of symposiums and presentations here in the city of Fort Myers. We were invited to go down and speak with people and share our book, again, Real Life Hurricane Prep, which is available on Amazon, and it's listed here in the description. You can see stuff in our channel about it, which is what this hurricane prep channel is based on, actually, that book. But we shared the book. We had some giveaway copies of the book. We shared them with people. And the idea was to say, hey, you guys are city employees. You're charged with running the municipality in a disaster situation. You're going to be sequestered in your offices. You're part of the job requirement is to stay there and be in place and available. Well, you got to make sure your family's set up and you're set up. Take care of yourself first so that you can then help members of the community. So we went through that, and that was a great thing. Hey, I'm Dan. This is Cameron Home Solutions, LLC. We're a YouTube channel, and we're dedicated to hurricane prep, DIY, and also lifting and rigging and storm cleanup, storm prep. We want to pass on great information to you. And if you're here, just understand that when you watch these live presentations, there's not a lot in most live presentations on YouTube of this nature that you have to see on the screen. So you can listen to this stuff while you're in your garage, like I am here in the garage. You can be cooking, you can be driving to work, depending on what you do for work. You can have this playing in the background, and any of these live performances from other creators out there that deal with storm prep or any kind of prepping can help you, and you can pick up the wisdom. And that's all we're trying to do. We've got 89 subscribers now. We're very proud of that. We hope to have 8,900 in a year's time. We'll see what happens. And we just love that people are coming in. They're asking questions, helping us to direct our content. They're looking for answers, and we've got a lot of experience. We've helped hundreds of people with their plans, and we want to help you guys. And if you can help us, hey, feel free to chat. Even after this live presentation is over, it's still available. The copy will be there for you to view in full or partially, whatever you need to do. You can reach out to us. You have an email address that you can contact us at, and you can put comments in on our videos. We like to reach out and interact, so that's a great thing. But again, getting back into this bug in and bug out scenario, we're not very popular when we talk about bugging in and bugging out. If I don't have the big rucksack on, if I'm not shouldering weapons, that's all glamorous and that's all great. And people with the big muscles out there ready to go, and they've got their compass and they've got their flint for starting a campfire. That's all great. It's very popular, and the people sure get more views than what we do out here. But not everybody does that sort of thing. This is not Hollywood we're talking about. Evac, bug in, bug out. This is not fun stuff. It really can be disruptive. It can be stressful. It can be hot, sweaty, cold, freezing, depending on what you're dealing with and what part of the country. It's just so different from the norm. And what we're asking is that you just take the time to prepare for things that are not the norm. Because if you prepare for things that aren't the norm, then you'll be more open-minded, more flexible, and able to adapt if things change around you. We'll go right back to what we said in the first quarter of this live session here. You might have to bug out and then find out that you're going to be better off bugging in, or you decide to bug in, but civil unrest comes up or circumstances deteriorate where you live, and you say, hey, I've determined that now I have to bug out, but you've already got a plan in place. See, right now it's the beginning of March. Hurricane season doesn't start for us until June 1st. So you've got time to act and work on these things. Just like we're bringing this stuff to you 3 months early, you should be thinking about this stuff 3 months early, so that in the stress and the heat of the moment, you don't just totally fall apart and just make dumb decisions, because it can happen. I'm proud to say that Mary and I have spent years honing our own personal disaster plan, and we've shared it with many others, and we've already told you how we've helped so many people with it by sharing. But it took a lot of time. We made a lot of changes, and we also made a lot of mistakes. But it's one thing to make mistakes, and it's okay to make the mistakes as long as they're not totally severe and life-threatening. It's okay to make mistakes. If you come from a place of having some kind of plan, some kind of idea, you're putting water away, you're putting food away, you're watching the weather, you're a little more aware of the news, depending on where you live. Are you in an area that's prone to protests and that sort of thing? Do you find that if you're working, you might leave for work a little earlier to get away from the mobs of people that are gathering because of some unrest or problems? You're using your head, and you're seeing things that a lot of people don't see. You watch the news with a little more cynicism, and you don't just watch, let's say, CBS or NBC or Fox or CNN or NPR or whatever. You watch a host of different sources, and you look for different things, and you try to figure out for yourself what's going on. That's very, very important, because a lot of people don't do that. They get spoon-fed a lot of this mainstream crap, and they can't deal. They can't handle that. So be an independent thinker, be prepared. It's a solid thing to do. I'm going to put another chat out there. And again, this is for a reference. When you go back into these chats, you can see the questions. And as people interact down the road, you'll see that sort of thing. And some of it can be very helpful. Have you ever had to implement a disaster plan for your family? Now, that's a very good question. And if anybody has any comments, we know we've got people flitting in and out of here. You're more than welcome to answer that question. But if you've had a chance to implement your plan or activate your plan, please let us know. I served on a condo board for many, many years. It was over 12 and a half years. and I was board president for a couple of condo associations for many years. And we activated the disaster plan that we helped update and upgrade and design for our county, or for our community rather, a number of times. I mean, you can think of tropical storms, windstorms, rain events, accidents. We had multiple hurricanes. We had Hurricanes Irma, Hurricane Ian. We had just multiple storms. We had Harvey come blow through and bring all kinds of rain before Irma came in. So we've activated it. We've had it. We did a community-wide hurricane plan where we took down our street signs and took down our entry gates. And we brought furniture in and turned our clubhouse into a basic storage area. We emptied the pool deck. Sometimes we would lower the pool water if we thought a bunch of rain was coming in. You just never know. Inevitably, we would lose power in these storms. In Hurricane Irma, we had about 15, 16 inches of rain. We lost power for 6.5 days. And that diesel generator we had there, boy, that thing ran and ran, and it was a wonderful thing for us. And so many people had generators. It was a very, very strange time being without power for 6.5 days. Hurricane Ian came along in 2022, and we were without power for 3.5 days. As far as I'm concerned, being without power for a couple hours is hard. Being without power for just an hour can be a real pain. So when you go day after day and not knowing when the power is coming on, knowing that you've got backup fuel, but not knowing how long it's going to last and whether you're going to make it through, it really makes you think. And here's the other thing I'll put out there, and I'll put this out as another chat. If you've gone through and you've had to activate a disaster plan for you and your family, if you had to bug in or bug out, what mistakes did you make and what did you learn from the experience? All right, let's see what we got here. I said, what mistakes did you make and how did you make your plan better for the future? Another great question. And again, if anybody has anything they want to add to that, and even if you watch this, let's say this is March 3rd, it's a Tuesday night. I keep thinking it's Wednesday, but it's Tuesday night. If you watch this and you want to comment on the video, feel free to go ahead and comment. We'll see the comment. We can reach out to you and we can certainly have a conversation if that's what you choose, or just a short question and answer. But yeah, we went through it. We've developed our hurricane plan, and every year we modify something, we add or take away something. We always learn something. We went through Hurricane Irma. We didn't have any battery backup power, save for a small couple APC backup devices, those little uninterruptible power supplies you use. In Hurricane Ian, we had the diesel generator, the generator right behind us. We got it, and we had it custom built that summer. We picked it up 5 days before Hurricane Ian. So this thing, we put 48 engine hours on it when the power went out here when Ian came by. So it was a good thing for us. But the thing that happened with us is we couldn't run. The storm started blowing in about 10, 11 o'clock, I believe it was. And it may have been earlier. I just can't remember. But I remember it was after midnight that we took down our garage door braces and opened our hurricane garage door. We were able to roll our generator outside, set it up and get it running. During that time, the cell towers went down. The only thing we could do is text 5 or 6 words at a time. We couldn't text anything long. We couldn't get any information. We couldn't even watch television because we couldn't get the generator running. We didn't have enough power in the house. So less than a month after the storm, it probably was 3 weeks after the storm, we bought a Jackery portable power device. And the portable power station's been wonderful. It was a 2,000 watt unit, and it cost us about $2,000. We liked it so much, we just bought another one here in July or May of last year. And it was half the price. It was less than $1,000 when we were done. And it's another 2,000 watt unit. The first one was a lithium ion unit. This one is lithium iron phosphate. The batteries are much better. It's got a lot more charge cycles, But the fact is, we now have 4,000 watts of power in the house to augment the generator. So depending on what's going on, we don't have to run the generator as much as we had to back then. So that's what we did. And that's part of the lessons that we learned. Heck, we didn't even have a TV antenna, a digital TV antenna, one of these flat things we could put up so we could watch television during that 6.5 day power outage. All we had was the radio, and that was so hard to deal with. Now we have that. We have the digital antenna in our house. We pick up 55 stations, and we watch a core of them. We've used it. We've had Hurricanes Helene and Milton blow around us here. So we did keep abreast of the happenings. We had power. We didn't lose power, but we had the power backup ready and staged just in case. So we took a plan. We learned from our mistakes from the prior years and the prior storms, and we went ahead and made things better. So again, I want to give full credit to the YouTube channel After Normal, and it's an AI channel. They have a lot of great information on it. I normally don't like AI information, but some of these things are doing really well. They had lots of views, lots of likes, and lots of good information. The video we were talking about tonight was Too Old to Bug Out, the Stay Put Doctrine for Seniors, talking about senior citizens and whether it's a better idea in some scenarios to perhaps bug in and not go and try to evacuate and put your body, which is older, which may have some replacement joints in it, which may be medicated because you have a condition, and not putting your body in that state where you can't safely handle an evacuation scenario. So you might be better off to stay home and just hunker down. You might have a more powerful plan than you think after looking at your scenario. And it talked about looking at your medication. Can you put aside enough water? Do you keep your vehicle gassed up? Do you have enough medication? Do you just keep a 7-day, 10-day, 30-day supply? Can you work with your doctor to build up to a 90-day prescription so you have what you need in case you can't get out there and get what you need? These are the things that we're talking about. Can you stockpile enough food to last 90 days? I'm not saying you have to do 90 days. I don't think we'll ever have enough food in our house for 90 days. We just don't have the room for it. And we're good. We've got a good month, maybe 2 months here, and I think we can do very well with that. And Mary and I work closely on it. We're comfortable with that. And you want to do what's comfortable for you. Just because somebody says on a channel, hey, you should do this or you should do that, that doesn't mean you have to do this or have to do that. It's what's comfortable for you. It's what's doable for you. It's what's realistic for you. And that's the other thing you'll get with our channel. Again, I'm Dan from Cameron Home Solutions, LLC. My wife, Mary, and I operate this YouTube channel where we deal with DIY scenarios. We deal with storm prep, storm cleanup, rigging, disaster prep, that sort of thing. And the idea is that if we can show you some mechanical concepts and teach you some of the tips and tricks that we use to be successful in our lives when we deal with these storms. We've helped hundreds of people with theirs. We've modified our hurricane plans over the years. If you can pick up a few nuggets of wisdom from the content that we have a book that we wrote that's available on Amazon. We've got a second book, which is a cookbook that's really helpful and pairs with this book that we have on hurricane prep. All this stuff is out there for you. These are great resources. Check them out. You've got time to look into it, make a great plan for yourself, and maybe you'll decide that it might be easier for you to bug in rather than bug out. That's what we were talking about tonight. Hey, if you learned a few things, feel free to like what you've got here. Feel free to subscribe. We'd love to have you bang around our channel, take a look at some of the content. And if you see something you like, give it a like. Put a comment out there if you have a question or you want us to flesh out an answer or something. We love the interaction. We'd love to help you because we've had so many people help us on our journey. Now we're doing that. We're taking our knowledge and bringing it to you. So we are just about done here. We've gone on for a little bit over an hour. I want to thank you very much for stopping by. Again, this will be archived in here. You can get at it after YouTube processes it. We thank you very much for your time. Please look into protecting yourself, protecting your family. Then you can help your neighbor. Then you guys together can start to help your community. Remember that self-reliance is the best insurance. We appreciate your coming out here. We appreciate you sharing with us. We hope to see you again, and We'll see you on another live or a Talk Wednesday or maybe on a Friday video. You take care and we'll see you again.